Within the past few minutes, President Obama, which has finished, in fact, has been outlining reforms about America's controversial surveillance tactics, which had ensnared millions of people's phone calls, texts and emails around the globe. After praising the NSA and its importance to security, he admitted that mistakes had been made in its collection of private data. Our team report now has been listening into what Barack Obama had to say so far in New York there. Hi, so that speech just finished, went on for an hour or so. What did he have to say briefly?
Well, what we do know is that U.S. President Barack Obama believes that the practice of metadata collection is very important, and he says it will continue. But what the U.S. president wants is to possibly change the hands that holds everyone's call records. The U.S. president is considering maybe having a third party store everyone's information. Currently, the National Security Agency is collecting and storing every America's metadata on a daily basis. Some private phone companies have already rejected that idea, saying they don't want the liability, they don't want the blowback. But this is something that is being considered now. The U.S. president says his Attorney General, Eric Holder, and others will craft a report on who should hold the metadata, and the options will be announced in late March. When it comes to spying on foreign friends, allies like German Chancellor Angela Merkel, President Obama says unless there is compelling evidence, U.S. intelligence officials will not be listening on the phone calls or reading the emails of America's friends. Obama said he's also calling for a public advocate panel to be appointed to the FISA court. And also there was some mention of possibly requiring the NSA to get permission from the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, which I mentioned, the FISA court, every time it wants to access metadata, its metadata database. Now that's something that is still up in the air. It was recommended to President Obama, but we should mention to our viewers here that the FISA court is a secret court. Its hearings are closed to the public, and records of the proceedings are classified. During its 33-year history, the FISA court has reportedly granted nearly 34,000 warrants and only denied 11 requests. It is seen as a court that rubber stamps whatever U.S. intelligence officials want to do. So we'll see what happens with this FISA court. Even if there is a public advocate panel appointed to it, we might not know what this public advocate panel thinks of the FISA court. And we should mention, lastly, any changes that are made to the NSA's intelligence programs, its data gathering, the metadata gathering, the spying, any changes need to be approved by the U.S. Congress, a body of lawmakers in the United States that currently has a 13% approval rating because Americans are so frustrated with their lack of productivity. So right now, Obama has spoken for nearly an hour about NSA reforms, but it doesn't make clear how much is really significantly going to change in terms of protecting Americans' privacy and the ongoing spying of their personal information.
Yeah, it's raised a lot of questions. It almost raised more questions than it's answered, isn't it? We're going to be getting a lot of guests lined up throughout the evening to pick this apart a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening and giving us your first thoughts about that from New York City there. Thanks ever so much. My report now, our correspondent over in America. Well, President Obama also asked the Congress to establish an independent privacy defender in the federal courts to increase the supervision of intelligence work. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill are divided, though, over where the spying program's boundaries should be. Democratic Congressman Rush Holt proposed his own bill for reining in the NSA. Here he comes now.
We don't want those who are doing the surveillance to be the very same ones who decide who the bad guys are.
Debates over the role of the NSA has diluted the usual partisan rivalry between Democrats and Republicans, with bills defending the surveillance and calls to restrain it coming from both sides. Let's talk now to a former FBI agent, Colleen Rowley, joining us on the line. Hi, Colleen. Nice to see you again. It was a few months before you were here in Moscow last, wasn't it? You've been listening in, I guess, carefully there for the last hour or so. Obama dedicated a huge part of the speech to defending importance and necessity of intelligence, but was he justifying what the NSA did here, or was he against it? It's raised, as our correspondent was saying, more questions than it's answered, isn't it?
Well, I think the speech was a few baby steps in the right direction, but it was a lot of dissembling, and certainly it was a reassurance to the NSA and its employees that they have been doing the right thing. So in a way, a lot of it was justifying this massive, if you want to call it a bulk collection or massive spying, or even more accurately, total information awareness that was turned on after 9/11.
For what I could gather for it, I was listening in as well as best I could over the last hour or so we were on air as well. It seemed to me that he didn't specifically talk about texts or phone calls or messaging, Facebook information, stuff that could be gleaned from that. He was talking about data from bulk calls. Do we read anything into that or not?
That's exactly right. He talked, really focus was on the 215 telephone metadata program. That is just one of dozens of massive collections. Again, the NSA's motto is collect it all. Nothing in Obama's speech put any reined in this collect it all approach. And yesterday there was a big revelation called Dishfire program.
Yep.
The Dishfire program was collecting all text calls. Literally hundreds of thousands of text calls every day are going into the NSA's vacuum. It's gigantic Hoover that's taking place. It was actually very sad in a way to watch Obama turn the revolutionary founding fathers on its head, who actually fought the revolution in order against King George's spying, and he kind of turned that around, saying that Paul Revere himself was a spy. You know, there was nothing that...
Some other bits and pieces. Well, what about Angela Merkel? Can she sleep easier tonight that at least she'll know if she's going to be spied on next time he'll ring her first, or ask her maybe directly to her face what she may be keeping from him?
Well, actually, if anybody would be the one that they would be very careful about turning on to spy on, it would be Angela Merkel. No one knows how many other heads of state might fall into this little more protected category.
Dima Husev, what about her? Can she sleep easier at night?
Well, the thing is, what's the check on this? Because again, Obama is very sour on whistleblowers. And so even if he was spying on his very best friends, even if there is a new Martin Luther King Jr. in this country that they are spying on, by quashing this ability to get the truth out, which he did in this speech, it's going to be effectively the same regime as before.
So you said small steps made here. You think more much more could have been done, though, yeah?
Well, that's right. I mean, releasing the FISA opinions is fine, and actually a judge having to okay the query of the metadata is a good step. Although you should note that that's only reasonable suspicion, so very, very low threshold for querying this. Many of the other problems that exist in this collect-it-all approach and the potential for abuse have gone unaddressed. And I think we would, he's saying that we'll have review panels. We'll have John Podesta, his friend, look at the big data programs. Well, that's basically punting. And if it's internal, if it's the DNI, actually he gave power to the DNI, which is Clapper, who lied to Congress already. By having this all done internally, it's just a false illusion to the rest of the world, to ordinary citizens around the world, to foreign heads of state, and to the American public that he's doing something.
All right, Colin Rowley, former FBI agent, whistleblower yourself. You just lost the line to you there, but thanks for getting very much the bulk of what you had to say out to us clearly. Very good.